Now, I know this is a conversation that's been had 1,000 times over, but I just wanted to share my own take, my own perspective, as well as my own experience when it comes to this. And that is basically this idea of quote unquote speaking white, which, if you're watching this right now, this may be extremely relevant for you and it is your life story, or it is the exact opposite because you might be white. And so it's like, well, nobody would ever tell me that because why? Right? Now, I've been told a multitude of times throughout my life that I was coming off as white. And I didn't understand what that meant, especially early in my life. And so instead of actually, I guess, introspecting, maybe because I was young and I didn't have the ability to, I didn't have the tools, to process this. Instead, what I did was I molded myself into the image of what I believe the so-called culture needed me to be, right? I was already indulgent in hip hop and things of that nature, but I also loved, the Bee Gees and the damn Hall of Notes. Like, I loved all sorts of music and all sorts of culture, etc. But I felt that if I was going to belong, if I was going to be somebody who was going to be accepted, and this was mostly in the transition of like fifth to sixth grade, if I was going to be, stepping onto that middle school campus and be a somebody, then I had to find a way to rid myself of anything that would make me stand out as anything other than, acceptable for what I look like, who I'm supposed to be. And so one of those main things was the way in which I spoke, which is ironic because now I literally speak for a living, right? My ability to articulate a message is one of my greatest gifts, and I'm so thankful for it, and I'm so thankful I get to share it. But, in times past, during that kind of transitionary period, I'm a identity crisis, I'm discovering myself, etc. I looked down upon, this level of communication, and so I dumbed down my speech because I came to believe that it's a negative thing if you're told that you speak white, that surely it must be an insult. And of course, the ones who said it were looking to insult me. So why would I not take it as such? And as kids, we want to belong. We want to be a part of the group. And I always say one of the worst things that can happen to you when you want to be cool is it actually works. It's the worst thing. And that's what happened to me. Some folks try to say, oh, well, the reason why he be saying what he said, because he ain't get none in high school. Or he was a lame. Actually, I was quite the opposite. I knew how to, I guess, play the game and things of that nature. And, because I had the ability to communicate, I was still able to, I guess, talk myself into or out of situations. But the best thing that could have happened to me is that I was outcasted and I was like an outsider, etc. Not for the sake of being bullied or anything like that, but, so I could actually appreciate my individuality. I see kids out there, young black kids, whatever it may be, who are into, all types of quote unquote alternative things. They're into anime, they're into punk rock, they're into snowboarding. I see my little cousin, my little birthday twin, actually, little big cousin. He grew up snowboarding. When you look at him, I mean, he's a little fashionista, but he's got like, it's like there's an emo influence ish. There's like me as a kid, me at the ages that he was starting to exhibit these parts of his personality. Man, look, if you pulled up to one of these functions, you go into a Yike Fest. Only the Bay Area knows about that. You go into a Yike Fest. The last thing you're going to be caught with is some damn Playboy Cardi looking, Avril Lavigne looking outfit on or anything of that nature. Absolutely the hell not. And the last thing you're about to be doing is going up to the snow in Tahoe for a bit of a ski and a bit of a snowboarding experience. Absolutely the hell not. What are we doing? We're hooping. What are we doing? Blowing bleezies. We're on the Zaza, the loud pack. Like, I did everything I could to conform myself into something that was disruptive to my very core. I mean, the real me was yearning to be heard. The real me was on the surface, forever bubbling, and I found ways to compartmentalize myself. And again, speech is a powerful thing that we give very little credit for, but yet sometimes we overemphasize. And the way we communicate says a lot about who we are or who we want to be perceived as. And so for me, I picked up the lingo, I picked up the mannerism, the way of being. When I speak of being perceived as talking white, I guess that also comes with even, what surrounds that, right? Acting white. And I did an entire video on just, the acting white part, which is why I want to kind of zone in on the communication aspect. But they feed into each other. So it was, man, like, what are you trying to get into? What sport do you want to pick up? It was only maybe when I was 17, 18 where I said, you know what? I want to try lacrosse for a year. Why not? Now, mind you, I was a complete up at that point because I was already smoking every day and, hanging out, not showing up to practices. I don't know how I survived on that team. Scored one goal by mistake. Ball rolled in while the goalkeeper wasn't looking like. But I tried that. But again, there was still a part of me that was so addicted to the validation of being part of this, of what was cool. You know what I mean? Like I was down. I don't know what even the new words are for such a statement now, but I wanted to fit into that. And so I stripped away my ability to be able to communicate clearly. I dumbed myself down if I really want to get down to it. I pretended to be a lot more stupid than I really was. I pretended as if there wasn't a certain level of intellect and intelligence that was taking place. And this ain't even a bragging thing. It's not a cocky thing. It's just I would have concepts in my head and imagery and things of that nature, creativity. I would have philosophy, all of this taking place. Imagine all of this that I now communicate through these different channels and avenues, but all of it just being bottled up in my mind because I don't want that to leak out and be seen as a lame. You know what I mean? That was my experience. And, it took me finally having the scare of my life, stepping out of that lifestyle, right? When I stopped indulging and I stopped slanging and things of that nature, that I finally stepped out and could see things more clearly. And I started to realize that, bro, what people were perceiving as acting white, it was actually a mistranslation to say, oh, you're articulate. Oh, you actually don't dumb down your speech. Oh, you actually know how to convey yourself. And those were the things I was literally suppressing or trying to eradicate completely. And so when I hear a statement like, man, you talk white, why do you act white? It's heartbreaking and it's unfortunate that there is still this sentiment to say, oh, if you have a functional life, a functional home, right? Two parents, the suburban neighborhood, you see mom and dad together enjoying one another's company with the baby, the kid, whatever it is. That's seen as acting white, right? That's that white people shit. That is insane. That is problematic. The fact that positive attributes are associated with whiteness is an actual issue. And it's almost like a coping mechanism. That's that white shit. It's like a coping mechanism, as opposed to addressing like, these are the things that we should be aspiring towards because they're not white things. These are just healthy ways of being, functional ways of being, a way to communicate yourself clearly. That's something you should aspire towards. You should not be aspiring towards having your language go from, 12th grade level to a 3rd grade level in order to fit in. That's what I did. And that's what I was looking to do. And I could only sustain it for so long, obviously. And by the grace of the Almighty, the Creator, the infinitum, I was able to get back to who I truly was. And so my message, even though I be on my soapbox, I try not to just be, oh, you need to do that. It's like, no, bro, I'm speaking from my own perspective, my own lens of life, etc. And I know that in some cases, I'm speaking to somebody who needs to hear a very specific message. And I want to speak to you right now to say, look, I don't care what it is and how, if it's, oh, you're speaking white or acting this way, you shouldn't. If you are feeling the pressure to be incongruent from what you actually are, I'm telling you right now, it's never worth it. No amount of affection, no amount of attention, no amount of admiration, no amount of validation is ever going to be worth losing yourself, ever. I have tried it in every form. I have been the people pleaser. I've walked on eggshells. Whatever form it takes, it is not worth it. It is not worth it. You need to be who you are. And there's some white kids. They love hip hop. They love the lifestyle. And then they're called culture vultures or whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, they're acting black. They just picked up and gravitated and resonate with what they resonate with. And if that's what they're into, then that's what they're into. If that's who they truly are, and that their soul is captivated by that, we need to open that up. We need to stop gatekeeping culture, or it's their thing and those people's thing and those people's thing. Oh, those are my people. Those aren't my people. I say the people that are my people, the ones I resonate with at a soul level, at a spirit level, those who I resonate with in the value systems. What is it that you value in this life? If you're a man who is not valuing family, you're not trying to build your way into marriage, into sustainability, like you're not trying to create a functional, stable, grounded, mature household and raise children in the context of that. If you're not intending to do that, instead you're going out there willy-nilly, do whatever, you're not my people. It's very, very black and white with me when it comes to these things. You're not my people. I can't resonate with you. I can't relate to you. I see some sisters out here, women out here trying to be friends with every damn body, trying to be nice and cordial. You trying to be married, or you're already married, but you're with somebody who literally opposes the sanctimonious, holiest of marriage. Like they're around in the clubs, they're all over the place, throwing that thing around indiscriminately. How are you and that person the same? How is that your people? How is that your people? There's a reason why humans have always been broken up in tribes. It was never based on race, folks. It was tribes. Tribes have customs. Tribes have ways of being. Tribes have culture within them, and there can be exchanges of culture that resonate and relate, or there can be clashes of those cultures. And for me, I say it's not a black culture and a white culture. And I use these words sometimes to get the point across, to say black culture or white. But really, I'm trying to break that mold. I'm trying to break that psychological trap that so many of us have caught ourselves in, right? We have been conditioned and programmed to believe like this, and it keeps us in these shackles and these chains. And we need to break free from these if we're going to live our lives, period.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a hardening heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.